19, brilliant, beautiful, and with aspirations of becoming a doctor.
She wanted to be a pediatrician.
Now she's gone.
No trace of her.
No trace.
Will this gone girl help solve her own disappearance?
So Amber essentially left a trail of clues, even from the grave.
Yes.
A cryptic roadmap that could lead cops to a dark, grisly secret sealed with asphalt.
What do you think happened to Amber?
I believe that she is buried under the road on Highway 29 somewhere along the way.
Some little girls seem destined for greatness. Amber Wilde is one of them.
When I tell people, I say, if you could have had a half hour to talk to her, she'd have changed the way you looked at life.
Steve Wilde raised Amber and her little sister as a single dad.
What type of girl was she?
She was very, very conscientious. She would ask me if I paid the rent, and it was having a 13-year-old mother in the home.
That conscientious little girl grew into a young woman with big dreams.
What were Amber's dreams, aspirations, hopes for the future?
Her plans were to be a doctor and work with kids.
And Amber is well on her way as a junior at the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay.
Just always planned everything to the T, and she always found herself able to accomplish whatever she put her mind to.
Amber chronicled every detail of her journey in her diary, writing down daily activities, who she spoke to, and even her most private secrets. Just hours after one of her final entries into her diary, Amber is in a car crash while on her way to class.
She had rear-ended another car. She had made contact with that driver. They agreed to exchange names and speak later in the day.
There was minimal damage, but Amber did smack her head on the windshield.
She went and saw the medical staff at school. They told her that she most likely had a concussion and that someone should check in on her, whether it be in person or with phone calls.
Steve talks to his daughter throughout the day. Amber tells her dad she's got a blinding headache and asks him to call in the morning to make sure she wakes up for class.
When did you realize something was wrong?
When it went, 12 hours from my last conversation with her, I knew something wasn't right.
Steve says horrible thoughts start racing through his mind.
I had a key for her apartment, so I was able to go in there. There was nothing that had been going on in that apartment.
Nothing was amiss?
Nothing really jumped out and said, this is maybe what happened. Something might have pointed me in a direction where she was.
When the worried father notices Amber's car is missing, he immediately calls the Green Bay police.
It's not unheard of for a 19-year-old just to book town. Right?
No.
They just want to leave for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Why did you rule it out?
It was just totally out of character for her to go missing on her own. So there was a good concern early on that someone else most likely was responsible for her disappearance.
Then cops discover their first clue. Days after Amber was reported missing, her car was found here, across the street from where the Green Bay Packers play, Lambeau Field. But Amber is nowhere to be found.
What was unusual about her car?
Her car was found unlocked. Keys were in the car. Her purse was located in the trunk of the car, and her cell phone was actually located on the front seat of the car, still plugged in to the cigarette lighter.
And nobody saw who drove the vehicle outside this bar?
Correct.
Could Amber have amnesia from the concussion and simply wandered off? Possibly. But when Steve sees the inside of his daughter's car, he knows his little girl is in big trouble.
You noticed something strange about the driver's seat. Tell me about that.
Well, she had very short legs. The seat was all the way up against the steering wheel. Well, when we found the car, the seat was all the way back.
Her physical description is she was 5'2" at the time.
Correct.
So there's no way she would have the driver's seat all the way back.
No.
What did that indicate to you?
Could be one of two things. Someone's either did it intentionally to throw us off, or someone very tall was the last person to drive the car.
But it wasn't Amber.
Correct.
There's something else eating away at this worried dad. Just 2 days before Amber went missing, she had her car serviced, and they wrote down the mileage on her odometer. When Amber's car is found at Lambeau Field, Steve notices about 900 new unexplained miles.
We don't know how those miles got on there.
Police begin to suspect the absolute worst has happened to Amber.
Are you investigating Amber's disappearance as just a missing person or as a homicide?
No, we've pretty much ruled it a homicide. There is nothing that we can find or have been able to find that she went missing on her own.
Did Amber have any enemies? Anyone who would want to hurt her?
Not that I know of. She had a lot of friends. She had tons of friends. I think she probably liked everybody. Everybody liked her.
So who would want to hurt Amber? Then police get their biggest clue from the most unlikely person, Amber, in her own written words.
I like to think of it as that she's her own star witness.
Cops find her personal diary.
How crucial is Amber's diary?
It's very crucial. It paints a good picture of her life.
It's odd. You're almost like you're reading this diary and you're asking Amber posthumously to speak to you about her murder.
Yes. Speak to us from the grave, wherever that grave may be.
And there, in black and white, cops find 2 words that spell out a possible motive. I'm pregnant.
Who would have any motive to get rid of Amber?
The father of the baby, if he didn't want anything to do with it.
Up next, is Amber's diary a script for her murder?
He wanted Amber to have an abortion.
And just listen to what police say could be the reason why.
He did not want his fiancée or his family to find out about it.
I mean, that's a monster.